Hello, welcome. I have a mission today. I want to implement an inline autocomplete text field using Jetpack Compose. And I have no clue yet how to actually do this. Thank you for the follow. Awesome. But I will show you what I mean by that. If you look at the browser address bar here, if I type git, you can see that it auto-completes to github.com, and I can continue typing, and if there is no matching result, then it will show nothing. Otherwise it will show basically the ending that I haven't typed yet. And I can also use backspace to get rid of it and type something else. And I want to have a Jetpack Compose widget that does exactly this. And if you go to the Android docs, usually there's the text field that you can use for entering text in Jetpack Compose. And it's always hard to actually go to the place you want to go. TextField, which there's an example. It's basically a simple text field, and earlier today I looked at the documentation and there doesn't seem to be anything that actually can do the autocomplete. So that means you might need to write something custom. But I was happy to see that there's a second version of TextField. This one that doesn't take in a string but a text field value. And I briefly looked at text field value. It can have an annotated string, a selection, and a composition. And that almost sounds like we could use that to make the inline autocomplete field, which would be pretty awesome because I actually don't want to re-implement everything TextField does. If we can use TextField under the hood, that would be pretty awesome. And I just created an empty Jetpack Compose app, and I guess we start typing. Feel free to ask questions in the chat at any time. I'm happy to answer them. As I mentioned earlier, I don't exactly know yet how this will work and if this will work at all. All I know is there's this text field value class that looks super helpful to do this. The end goal here is to actually use this in a browser, but for now I just want to get it working in this sample app. So let's just create an actual new file for this inline autocomplete text field and make this composable. And for now, let's maybe just use TextField here. What does this need? It needs at least a value. Set a string here just to make it compile for now. And let's see, we need some kind of sample app. Do we do here? Maybe just use it in here. Inline autocomplete text field. Actually, I might want to move this to another function just so that it's a little bit cleaner, and as we start to add more text here, more code here, that might get crowded. I don't know how to call this. Maybe just test for now. And we had our text field and we use text here. Can get rid, test here. Can get rid of all of this here. And apparently that's not enough. Oh yeah, we also need to handle the case where someone types. Is this a function that takes a string? Let's make it empty. Take care of this later. Because I think one of the first things I want to do is actually understand how text field value works. Like, what is this text range? what kind of values do I need to pass to the field? For example, if we ignore editing for now, let's say in this example where I type git and it autocompletes to hub.com, maybe we can just create this kind of visual with a static text field value, and that will hopefully help understanding what's going on. And I guess if I type here in our field now, nothing happens because we do not handle this at all. So let's try actually figuring out what text field value needs to be. So, okay, at the minimum it needs to contain, it could contain nothing actually. Okay, let's see. I pass this in. What do we get in this function here now? We get a completely new text field value. Then maybe if we start with an empty one and we make a mutable state of the thing, and then there's a better name, text field value maybe for now, and here we need to call value. I want to, basically what I'm trying to do is set up the simple use case where we can still edit text, even though I just said I want to ignore it, but I want to see if I just pretend it's a string and use the same mechanism where I just update the value all the time. Will it just behave the same and just work, and I can just edit the field? Because then I can start to manipulate the starting value. I can still type here maybe. Okay, let's test this part. Okay, so now it's backed by a text field value, and I can even type. So that is awesome, because this also allows us to actually inspect the text field value and look at how does this look like if I select Word, for example, because that is almost how it looks like in the browser here. If you type, like in this example, like hub.com, maybe it's just selected, because then I type, it goes away and something else appears in this case. And if I use backspace on selected text, that's the normal behavior, that it goes away, right? So would be awesome if just having a selection might work. Of course, we do not want those handles and not the toolbar here, floating toolbar that you can almost not see at all. So maybe that is not good enough and we need to fake it. We draw this part of the text that it looks like this, but let's see. Yeah, I mentioned that we want to basically change this text view value, the start value, to figure out how it should look like. So let's try this. So a text. I'm curious if let's add a comment here. Like, let's say we want a state where git is already typed and up.com is what's getting auto-completed. So in this example, I'm actually already not sure if the text is now git or github already. We look at the selection, that text range might be arranged inside this text. So let's try using the whole text github.com. Then let's specify a range, a selection, just to see how it behaves. Text range. It has a start and an end. or an index, or something completely different. Not sure what an index is if we are talking about the selection, but that might be more interesting for the other parameter, which is composition, which I assume is the part of the text range we are changing. If there's just one cursor, I assume it's just at one index, and we could even have maybe multiple cursors, like you can have here in Android Studio if I do something like this. But I'm just guessing here, I don't know. Hello, Cybershark, welcome. So let's start by just trying to figure this out. So I guess it's already the first question. If I started index, this is 0, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. Is position 3 included or not? Or does it start afterwards? So let's look at the inclusive start of the range. Okay, so I assume 0, 1, 2, and then we want to start at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 3 to 9. And the end is exclusive. So it should be 10? Let's just try. It's just simpler to run it. Try and error. Yes, that's Jetpack Compose, and we are trying to build an inline autocomplete field. Basically what the browser does here, if I type github.com, I do not need to write the whole URL, it does it for me. And that looks awesome because apparently that worked. So let's try to put the cursor here, and then we can test some things, I guess. Composition. And I assume now we just want the version that only takes an index. Where is this? Yeah. Creates a text range where start is equal to end and the value of those are index. So the start index was inclusive. What does this mean if we want to have the cursor basically in between? So let's try 1, 2, 3, and let's put it at 3 and just see. I'm actually not even sure if this is the cursor, so maybe we should read this too. The composition range. Null means empty composition, or apply if a composition exists on the text owned by the IME. If you have an instance of TextField value, please use copy functions if you do not want to intentionally change the value of this text field. Okay, that didn't help at all. Okay, I'm not sure if there's a cursor. We definitely do not have a keyboard, so let's try if I click here. Everything is gone. That is not what I wanted. Is there anything else we can put in here? Text field value, composition, text range. The problem is maybe it is correct, but we do not have a keyboard, but we also do not have a cursor here blinking. So I think what I would like to try is we just look at an actual value here. Just name parameters here. Make this more readable. Let's just see what the library does if I debug this. Okay, hasn't changed. I will just click into the text here. Now we get a new value that is composition text range 3. Interesting, that is exactly what we put in to text range 3. So what does this mean? Do we need to do something additionally to have the keyboard show up? Like this is an annotated string, but there's like no actual annotation in here. Like I was briefly thinking, is the cursor somehow part of the annotated string or something like this? But it doesn't look like there's no spans, no styles, just this text. So let's look at what else is in TextField. Is there something to say to control focus, for example? Keyboard options, keyboard action, status. I don't think anything we want. No, that is configuring the keyboard, and the actions are the actions are what's showing up. The action source, no clue what that is. I'm not sure if this is related, but what I'm curious is, for now there's no cursor. If we resume, okay, there's another update coming in. TextField value, selection, composition is null. Okay, resume. Oh wait, did I click too much? Let's look at this again. I click here, there's composition is null. Try this again. Click here. Hello. We get the text field value. Composition is still null. Selection is this range. Wait, selection is a range. Okay, another update. Selection is the whole text again. Did I? Why do I do this again? Click once. Text range. Apparently, there's a selection at one index. If click there. So this is a selection that exists here. That is weird. There is I missed a comment. I guess focus needs to be requested before setting the value. I believe it's in a modifier. Let's see what kind of things we have. Focusable. Oops. The import is missing. Focus order, focusable, focus target. I'm not sure what to use here. But what is composition then? Because if we ignore this for a second here, whatever we do, debug, sorry. If I click here, oh, is this slow? There's no composition. There's a text selection at 3. I resume. I again selected the whole text. Doesn't matter. If I start typing G. Okay, interesting. Selection is index 1. Composition is 0, 1. And annotated string is G. Okay, that is way more complicated than I thought. What is composition then? Resume. Let's try this again. Selection is at 2 now, so it moved. The composition is 0, 2, which is the whole range of the text in here. The selection moved again. The composition is the whole text. Would that mean the cursor is positioned at the end of the composition? Does anything change if I close the keyboard? Yes, it does. Composition goes away. Selection stays where it is. So in this example, need to test this again, sorry. Selection is 3. So in our example, we say this part is... I'm not sure if I understand selection already, so let's put it at 3, 2, which would be here. Like, let's add this to our comment. And composition, what is happening if we do this too? And completely ignore what's after the string. Seems like it calls on value change on double click to select all the text or single click to unselect any the text. Yeah, but I didn't double click. But it might be confused because there was already a selection. Okay, that is interesting. The git part is underlined. And then hub.com looks just normal. There's no cursor or whatever, so I type here. Okay, it kind of replaced the composition. Is this true? Did I understand this correctly? So if we go back to this piece where we say selection is at 3, 3 and the composition is this piece. If I now type something, that is kind of what we want, right? It's the only problem that I can't set the cursor, but maybe we can just completely ignore this problem for now, because we actually do not need to set the cursor for what we want to build. We just want to autocomplete. So whenever we get a new value, we need to look for the right text, like only the piece that not getting autocomplete. Like in this example, we only need to look at Git, see can we autocomplete this, then build a new value that kind of looks like this. Then maybe it works, because for this example we can live if I click into the text field and type. I'm focusing it and putting the keyword up, that was only helpful for testing the values. It's actually not important. So let's try this. So let's say we take in some function that actually can do an autocomplete for us. So we need to give it a string, and we get a string back. And what do we do in the case where it's not autocompletable? Either it's null or we return the same string. And now I think, like, let's say we pass Git to this function. We could either get back github.com, and then we just highlight the part that was not typed, or we say here's Git, and we get back hub.com, so we know we just need to append this. And in the situation where there's no value, like in this case here, probably want to return null. Yeah, null, or the same value, I guess. And here it definitely needs to be null. What's nicer? I guess this one is nicer for the consumer, because they will get the text Git, they will need to do some lookup in a database or wherever, where they get back github.com, and then they can just pass it into this function here. If you would ask for this, then they ask the database, give me a domain that starts with Git. They get github.com back, and then they need to cut off the Git again, which is annoying for the consumer. So I guess we will do this. We do this, and for now we maybe just take in null, because then it's easy to know here. Okay, there's nothing to do for us. Otherwise we need to compare the strings and so on, and maybe that's annoying, but we can change this later. It's actually not that important right now. And of course we also need to pass this value up at some point in some form, but we ignore this for now. So let's say, how do we do this? For now we just make a list here. Let's add some test domains, github.com and theverge.com. And here, whenever we get text, we just filter this list. Find domain starts with text. Yeah, that might work, I guess. Let's see. So here, let's get back here. So we get a value that is changed. That is already kind of complicated, but let's see. In this case, where we have getup.com, we know this here is part of the composition. So we need to ignore this part. So we only need this piece. So let's try this. The text is the value text, but the substring from 0 to the beginning of the composition, basically. Oh no, the composition can be null. What do we do if the composition is null? I guess we just ignore it. Let's try something like this. If the composition is null for whatever reason, we just just accept the value and do nothing. Okay, we can't do the smart cast here. So let's grab the value once and then use it after checking it. I feel like there's a off by one error here waiting for us. Cybershark commented there's first or null, which seems perfect for this. I'm not sure if you wrote this before I typed this, but I think find she uses this. Yeah, it's just not a name for first or null. Actually, I would love to just look at the value for now, if this is even the right value, but we can do put it into this. I mean, there are super edge cases here, like if the text is empty for whatever reason, we do not need to ask for an autocomplete, I guess. But let's ignore this. And now we need to build the new value. It is TextField value. I'm pretty sure it's completely wrong in the first step, but let's see. We take text, add the completed thing. No, that's wrong. We said the completed one already includes the text. And now if this is null, which means no autocompletion has happened, then we I guess we can just take the text as is. We might be able to shortcut to this. Let's try building the value anyways. And then we can test a bit to figure out what's the actual thing we need to do here. The selection needs to be at the end of the text still. So it's text range. Then it's the length, the text. I bet here might be a off by one arrow. Here might be off by one arrow, but we will see it. And the composition will probably be the next off by one arrow. Will be from the text length to the whole completed thing, if it's not null. If it is null, then it's still text length, I guess. Oh, there are now so many values that it might be hard to debug. New value. Let's try. I bet it's not going to work. It will look pretty weird and no one will understand what's going on. Or maybe I should, yeah, let's actually start with an empty text field just to get a better understanding what's going on. Oops. State of, because if we immediately start with this state, I'm not sure I will understand what's going on. Text field value. We still have, we look at the breakpoints. Let's just type and then see that we need to debug it. Okay, I type, I do it on the screen so that you can see it too, if my head not be in the way. Anyhow, I type a G. It did autocomplete. That's actually what we wanted. The cursor's wrong. And I'm not sure what's going to happen if I continue typing. So, no underline, so I'm not sure if we actually set a composition. So I type I. Looks okay. And then now I type something completely different to see if it does anything. M. Okay, it will always autocomplete to github.com. W. E. D. T. Okay, it completely ignores what I'm typing from now on, which is probably wrong. So let's look at the debugger, what's happening. And let's type a G. We get a text G selection of 1 1, so after the G, the composition over the whole type text, which means already this part is wrong because it needs to be from 0 to text length, I guess, right? Did this wrong. And selection, we write. Let's try this first. From 0 to text length means this part doesn't matter. What is our composition that we built? Where's new value? So we've built one that is text range 0 0 for the selection. That is weird since text length. Oh yeah, here's the first off by one arrow, I guess. And actually, another thing we need to check in a moment. And the composition is 010, which is, yeah, definitely something else. Okay, let's ignore this. One thing I was just curious, if I have an empty text, does GitHub start with an empty text? I guess it do. Let's again for, no, not this one. This one, actions. Let's open a Scratch file for writing Kotlin. If you have a tag, what's happening? Oh yeah, that's it. Ignore the debugger, please. The Scratch file. GitHub.com starts with G. Yeah, it's true. Starts with A. Defaults, right? And if it's an empty text, remains false. Okay, cool. So this is not important. Let's try once again with the updated composition here. I'm going to type a G. Cursor still at the beginning. That does not look good. No. Which kind of means that... What does it mean? Need to look at the debugger. I think... My guess is this could be wrong, and this potentially too if the substring is wrong. Okay, let's do this again with debugger. I type a G and we get, what are we interested in? What is text? Text is empty. That's already wrong. Value.text is, should be G, I guess. What does this text return? That's the annotated string text. Okay, so it's G, and we use 0 to, needs to be 0 to composition end, not start, right? At least here it looks right. Okay, let's try this again. Yeah, we will have to fight through a bunch of off by one errors and similar kind of errors. Okay, G. Text is G. This looks awesome. Completed is GitHub. Looks awesome. The new value is github.com. That's correct. Selection is 1,1. So after the G, that is correct. And the composition is over just a G. That looks correct to me as far as I understood everything so far. That looks awesome here. Now there's for some reason another composition coming in, and I'm already seeing the paste here. I'm not sure if I pressed something, but it almost looks like we do a selection, because now we end up here without a composition. Not sure why. Looks interesting. Let's type an I. The text is GII.up.com, which kind of makes sense, right? Because because we just added an I to it at the end, we kind of need to remove what we auto-completed previously. Let's see if this works correctly. The text we pass in is GI. That is awesome. That's exactly what we want. Don't care about the other thing. We autocomplete it to github.com again. And then the new value we return is github.com. The text range of the selection is 22. So after the GI and composition is 02. That to me looks correct. Yeah. That worked. If I now type something that does not match, like an M. Oh yeah, we end up in this again. The composition of null. I'm really curious why. I don't know yet. So we end up here. GIM is the text. We didn't autocomplete it to anything. So our new value is GIM. Cursor after 3, correct. 0 is 3 is the composition, awesome. Resume. And then we immediately end up here. And I'm not sure why. But now the composition is null. I guess it would really help to understand what composition is. It almost feels like it's a temporary state while you are typing and composing the string, and once it's done, text is GIM and there's no composition happening. That's what I'm guessing, but I haven't fully understood it. But visually it completely looks like what we wanted. So now we press backspace, we are back at GI, and we would expect us to autocomplete to github.com again, I guess. Text is GI, selection is 22, and there's no composition. I don't know why yet. I would assume because, yeah, we need to look deeper into what composition means here. I kind of feel like because nothing was added to the string, there's no composition. Let's see what else happens. Now we get a composition. Yeah, I really want to understand what this means. But anyhow, we get GI, cursor after the I, and composition now over the whole range. We autocomplete it to github.com now. Cursor again after the GI, composition matches. Awesome. I'm actually curious, is this the same in the browser? GIM. There's no autocomplete, so I press backspace. Yeah, that's what I was expecting. It actually does not autocomplete. Only if I kind of type more characters, right? If I type a T, I go. And that's an edge case we need to consider at some point. For this first version, maybe not. The other thing is, if I type git like here, and there's the autocomplete hub.com, and I press backspace, I only want to remove the autocomplete and not the actual character, which is something we might need to add to here, right? Because if I, yeah, basically in this case, resume, I remove the I, we are back at, no, I clicked it away. Oh my god, it's even worse. It is back at G, and there's still ythub.com, and we actually were supposed to remove that. I'm curious why thub.com is still here. Oh, because we... Huh. We need to look at this in the debugger. This will be a super debugger heavy session, understanding what's going on without actually looking under the hood, which might be an option too. Okay, this is the G, ignore, I, ignore. So we type GI. Now I remove the G. There's no composition. This is kind of an interesting update kind of for me, because we get a new value, which is github.com selection 11, and completed is composition is null. So the only thing that changed from the previous state is the selection moved, but the string GI is still here. So first, kind of in my understanding, the selection is the cursor. So the cursor moved, but everything is still here in this state. So what did just happen? Did I look at the wrong thing? I was expecting now another update with... Oh, Let's look at this again. Maybe we saw GI and the update. It's still the text, just move the selection, which means we are supposed to remove the I from the text. So many green things here. Go away. Okay. Let's do this again. G, I. Sure if I type the I. No, I did not. Oh, I did. Damn it. Let's try this again. Okay, let's type a G. I forgot the debugger. I forgot the debugger. I think I need to add more comments to remember all the cases we see. G. Resume. I think I double clicked again. Yeah. I don't want that. So easy to click again because you do not get any visual feedback because the debugger is still open. So G, resume, resume, I. Okay, now we understand GI, yada yada. I remove the I. This is still the, wait, this is still, damn it. Yeah, this is the new one, okay. So text is still github.com, but we got a new selection, 1.1. And this goes into this thing here, which means means there's still all the other crap. Hub.com here, which will be passed in as a new value. Okay, we need to handle this case here in this else block. The text is long, then the selection to cut it off. This makes sense. New value. If the value text is larger than the value select. Larger than the end, which means there's still more stuff. Just wondering, the other option we have is we could also compare the existing value and the current value. Let's try this first. So in this example, value text length. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's 9. There is much smaller selection end, which is 1. So we do the else case first. If it's something else, we just use the value we got. But if not, then we say you only need to change the text. So selection is still the same. Composition is still the same. But the text is value text substring from 0 to the end of the selection. Off by 1 errors, maybe. And of course, assign this value. Okay, start the debugger. Some water. Okay, let's go. Type a G. We ignore all the breakpoints. 2 of them. Type an but why? Oh no, now we are in a weird loop. Oh my god. So this is where we assign a new thing. Probably make this too short. to figure out in which case we are here. Okay, that's a nice loop. G. Okay, this is still everything we want to see. Okay, now we already immediately go into this case, which is definitely not what we expect. So the value is getup.com, the selection is 1, which means it's, of course, it's already longer. Like that, but that's what we want. That is what we want. So this does not make any sense. We need to type this differently, I think. Let's keep this for a moment, but comment it out. What we want is, we can just compare, right? If we know the previous, we say the previous text was getup.com and only GI was in the selection, and now it's G. And we know it's shorter now, which means we need to remove our autocompletion. So I think all those indices, they get very complicated to handle. So maybe just add some extension method to TextField value to help us find the text parts we care about. Let's do this. That will hopefully make our lives easier. So if we have a text field value, we need some helpers to get, say, original text. Might not be the best name, but I hope you know what I mean. We can change them later. Get autocomplete text. So if our input is github.com, the user typed git, then we want here to get git. Here we want hub.com. I'm just wondering, like, can we actually always get this out of the text field value? I guess we can, because we always need to. What this actually means is, instead of get original text, is get selection text. This is what this means, like in text field values world, I guess, and get text outside of selection. Kind of. It is, selection is an index. So it's get text before selection and get text after selection. Oops. I'm actually curious, is there help already? Value dot selection annotate string. Oh no. Oh no, wait, get text after select. That's exactly what we need. Already there. Get selected text Okay, maybe we can work with those. Maybe we don't need those. Phew, what did I want to write here in the first case? We need the text before. I might need a break. The text before the selection, before we typed, and the new one. So old text for now is just what we had previously. So value, no, not value, text field dot value, and then text before selection. I'm not sure why I need to provide the maximum characters. I actually do not. Why do I need to provide this? This is so annoying. Minimum number of characters before the minimum value. Before the minimum value in text selection. All of them. I want all of them. It's the maximum number. So max value, give us all of them. And then new text is from the value we got. Get text before selection, give us all of them. Oops, what is this word? New text. And for now, let's just debug it and see what are those values. Because I'm so confused now, I'm not even sure if this is the right thing we need. Right, here we go. I will type the debugger on. Yeah, I will type a G. We are here. All right. Okay. Old text is G and the new text is G because this is the second run after the composition is null again. I guess we can ignore this. I type an I. We first end up in the stuff above with the composition. We complete it to github.com, text is GI. Then we end up here. Old text and new text is both GI, awesome. And now I remove. Yeah, old text is GI, new text is only G. So that's something we can work with. Of course, all of this needs to be cleaned up and we need to pick better names. But right now, I just care more about the implementation. So if the new text is shorter than the old text, then we need to do some magic to remove the autocompletion. Otherwise, we continue to not care. Value. In the event where it's shorter, let's say, yeah, in this situation where it's just G, we scrap all autocomplete stuff. Which actually means we just need to use new text. Yeah, new text because it's already removed from new text. thanks to the get text before selection. I'm super afraid what's going to happen. If we actually have a selection here, maybe everything blows up, but that's something we don't need to care about right now. Let's try to get the simple case working. And just looking at this is so nice to actually test if we move this somewhere else. It's just a function that gets a bunch of input and needs to provide a new output. So that at some point we can write tons of tests with actual things that happen on a device if we type. Anyhow, so what do we want the new selection to be? We want it to be after the new text, so we set it to the length. So if it's G, it's 1 after the G. That is exactly what we want. Composition, probably by default null, but let's say explicitly null. And let's remove this because that was definitely completely wrong. And then we assign this here, and let's see. And we type a G, we are in the top part, we resume, we are here. Unfortunately, I didn't set any breakpoints here because I want to know in which case we are, but we probably were here. Oh. We type an I, text is GI, up here, nice. We end up in this else case because there's nothing to do for us here. And then we assign it. I guess this breakpoint is not interesting right now. Okay, now we remove the I. We end up here. And we create a new value. Let's jump over this. New text is G. And jump. We are here. The new value is now G. Selections after the G and no composition. That is awesome. Let's resume. That looks great. But now we are in a top case again, where we will autocomplete again, which is not awful for what we are doing here, but it's not the behavior we want at the end of the day, since if you're here in the browser, I type git, I remove I press backspace 1, actually only removes the autocomplete. That's something we need to actually do here. We need to use alt text, I guess. And we do not want to autocomplete again. But the thing is, in this case, I don't think we can now. Maybe we need to look at the composition to figure out what kind of situation are we in here. If we can't do this, another option is here, where we remember the text field value, the last one. This actually doesn't need to be a text field value. It can be something much more complicated, like autocomplete text field value, right? Where we have maybe have the text field value, but have additional properties that know what kind of autocomplete state we are in, so that we know, okay, we remove this, now we don't want to autocomplete, so we do not autocomplete again. If we can't know from this text field value that we get here, maybe can know, for example, yeah, let's look at this case one. We get a value. If the value has not changed, like let's say we have G and we still have G, then we probably do not need to autocomplete, and that might be the situation we run into. If we have G and a type an I, yes, we want to autocomplete in this situation. So let's look at this. And that might be the last thing we can do today, because I need to end the stream soon. What's happening? Did I get to press debug? Maybe. Ooh. Let's add those here too for a moment, just to look at the values. And then we actually do not need those. We could still add them as like internal functions, because the naming is just better. We will know what autocomplete text means. We might not know text before selection integer max value actually means in this context. So G, old text was empty. Now we added a G, so the text is longer. That's the case where we want to autocomplete. Resume, type an I, resume. Now we remove the I. We are down here where we remove. That is the case we want to stay in, but now we are here, and old text is G, new text is still G. So now we should not autocomplete. If new text is longer than old text, then do this and this out to look at the length here. And if this is not the case, then we just take whatever value TextField gave us. Okay, what is wrong? Oh, here. At least an else thing. Yeah. This code is so hard to read now, but we can simplify this a lot. Okay, I will try without the debugger. G, I, T. Oh my god. It is not enough. But this part is working. But this part is working. GI, if I press T. Why is there another T? I'm curious if this is caused by the new code we added. So let's go back for a second. And I'm sorry for this mess here, but I just want to try this for a moment. If this is a new bug introduced by our check here, or if this was there all the time and we type more than GI. G, I, oh yeah, T, okay, it's broke. It's definitely broken, and it's not caused by this, because this did actually do the right thing. And okay, so that's all for today. There's still a lot of work left. We need to fix this bug that duplicates stuff here. Then we need to check all the edge cases, and we need to check what actually happens if, oh my god, select text. That's something we do not handle at all. And then we need to also have the option to visually change how the autocomplete part looks like, because right now it looks completely like text. We either want to make it look like selection here. This is visually the same as if I selected text. Or maybe the nicer option is to have some properties here that allow users to define how this should look. We might need to add a ton of properties anyways, because right now we just use a plain text field that looks like this, and there are, as we saw earlier, tons of fields on text value that change how it looks like. We might want to enable, disable. We might to have a placeholder or an icon or whatever. And we basically need to allow users to do this too with the inline autocomplete TextField, which hopefully only we add all those properties and pass them down to TextField. Anyhow, thank you for watching today. We will hopefully continue with the inline autocomplete TextField soon. Bye bye. Thank you.